Hello, this is Sally, and I'm going to make some coleslaw today. I love coleslaw, and I know a lot of other people do, and it's very simple to make. I have a nice head of cabbage here, and since it's near Thanksgiving, we'll give thanks for our food and for the farmers who help us have something beautiful like that to eat. And actually, all you need for coleslaw is cabbage, salt and pepper, mayonnaise, and you can make some pretty good coleslaw. But everybody has a little different idea, and I like to make it with a little bit of green pepper and a tiny, tiny bit of onion and a little, like maybe a tablespoonful or two of vinegar and a little sugar in it. And I'll show you how I do that. But I'll start off with the cabbage. And I have a nice big pan because it's messy and the cabbage kind of goes here and there. See which one of these knives is the best. I think this one's pretty good. And what I'm going to do is put the cabbage on the cutting board. That way you won't get marks in your counter. And I'll just cut it so that it's easy for me to manage. Just cut a few pieces like that. You really, I don't grind the heart of the cabbage up. It's very hard and a little bit bitter, so you kind of go around that. And I'll just take part of that off of this. This we don't need. I'm going to cut this a little smaller too, so it's easier to handle. And there, we have a start on it. Also the pepper, I'm just going to use a little piece of pepper. A little bit of green pepper gives it a slightly, I already washed the cabbage, by the way, and I took those kind of wrinkly loose leaves off of the cabbage first. You usually want to pull a leaf or two off until it looks real nice and solid and good. And I think a little piece like that, we'll see. Maybe I'll add a little bit more. And also, I'm going to have a little tiny piece of onion that'll go in it. So I'll start out with just grinding the cabbage. And that's nice and easy. If you have a little grater like this, or whatever type you use, you might be more modern and you want to grind it up in a food processor or something. But I've used these for years. My mom used it, I used it, and it's really easy. And it gives you a chance to have a little exercise, a little wrist movement. Naturally, some big pieces will jump down in there, and you can always remove those or leave them in, whichever you like, but I take the great big pieces out. So right now I'm just grinding it, and I use the largest side, and that gives you a nice fine cabbage for your coleslaw. One important thing is to get very fresh cabbage, because that's where the taste comes from. And if it's old cabbage, it's not going to be good. No matter what you put in it, it's not going to taste very good. But if you get a nice fresh cabbage and you bring it home and you use it right away, don't let it sit around in the fridge, then it'll be good. I'm taking these big pieces I missed out. And I can do that after. So I'll just take us a minute or two to grind up the cabbage. I love coleslaw. Almost any kind of coleslaw. Some of it's a little more sour, some of it's sweet. I kind of like it sweet. But you'll know how you want it, especially after you make it a time or two. Now see, you get muscles when you do this. It's nice. And it's going, one head of cabbage is going to make a nice dish of coleslaw. Not enough for 4 people, maybe 6 people, depending how much everybody likes. We like a lot of coleslaw, and it just goes so well with any meal. It's light and refreshing, and cabbage is so good for you, cooked cabbage or raw cabbage. I had company once from Romania, and she had never eaten coleslaw, and they make a lot of cabbage, a lot of sauerkraut, but coleslaw was something she didn't know about, and I couldn't imagine that. I thought, it's so good and so easy. So I think I might have sent a recipe back. Some people like to put carrot in, and that is colorful and it makes a different taste. I've used that too. The carrot is kind of sweet, but this is what I like. I like it with the green pepper and the onion. This really doesn't take that long, but you have to have a little time. And you just use as much as you want. You can use half a head. I think I'm going to make this today. I'm looking at it, and there's quite a bit there. And there aren't that many of us here to eat it today. So I may just go with about 3/4 of a head, which is what I have in here right now, and I'll save this. Then I can make a small amount of coleslaw later. So we've got about 3/4 head of brown cabbage. See how nice it looks? And some of it is still inside. So I'm going to get that out with my hands. And my hands are very clean. I washed them really well before I started. And then I'll rinse this out right away. And it gets washed later. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm still going to need this to put my pepper and my onion. Okay. But we have the cabbage first of all. And it looks nice. And oh, this is a nice fresh head of cabbage. It is going to taste so good. If it has kind of a too strong a cabbage smell, sometimes that's a sign it's definitely an older head. And you do want a nice fresh one. So let's see, what did I do with my little, here we go. This is the green pepper. It gives it a nice flavor. If you've never tried this, try it. I used to go to a 5 and 10 and get coleslaw years ago, and it was the best coleslaw. I've never been able to exactly duplicate it, but it did have green pepper in it, and it did have onion. I could tell that. I should have asked them. But I was much younger then, and I wouldn't have wanted to ask. So I'll cut a little piece of this onion, just a little bit to give it the slightest onion flavor. And you take your onion the same way, grate a little bit of it in, as much as you think is going to flavor it up the way you want it. Now that's probably enough because I'm not making that much coleslaw.